Hey everybody, welcome to lesson 2, dealing with anatomical position, directions, and planes. So once again, just want to remind you that I don't require you to take notes. These are just ways that I can free up some in-class time for us to be able to hopefully do some more fun or some more review activities. There will, however, unlike the first video, there will be a quiz, short quiz over this video. So make sure you're paying attention, taking notes, all that jazz, so that you can do well on that short quiz. Today, I've got my good friend here, Bartholomew Bowens. He'll be helping me out as we talk about the various things dealing with how we reference the human body. The first thing we need to talk about is anatomical position. Now, this is a position that allows anatomists to have a standard position of reference. That way, when I'm talking about things going up or down on the human body, right, left, all anatomists can be talking about the same thing. Because if I say that I need to make an incision upward on Bartholomew, say I'm a surgeon and I'm doing that, that might be different. Do I mean towards his head? Does that incision need to be towards his head? If I'm doing surgery, he's going to be laying down. In that case, do I need to go maybe like towards the belly? Or maybe he's lying on his back and I need to go towards the back. Anatomical position gives us a standard position of reference. And we kind of have our own little language, a lot of it derived from Latin and Greek, so that we can all be talking about the same things and we don't accidentally make a mistake. So if we're doing surgery here. And that's basically what I was saying there. So anatomical position has the body erect, standing up, with the feet, face, and palms all facing forward. So as you can see here on Bartholomew, he is standing upright, he is erect, his face is looking forward, his feet, you can't see, they're cut off by the video, are facing forward, and then his palms on the inside here would be facing forward as well. And Bartholomew here, gravity takes a toll on his limbs. He can't hold his arms out right here, but typically the arms are going to be held out kind of like this here. Again, still these palms facing forward here. There's a diagram there. You can see those palms. Kind of tough to tell. We haven't gone over the bones to know whether that skeleton is facing forward or out. One key you can look for, though, is the thumbs are on the outside here. But there is a good example of anatomical position. So whenever we're talking about the human body, we're going to be going over directional terms here. Everything is in reference to if this body is in anatomical position. It doesn't matter if Bartholomew is laying down, if he's laying on his side, if he's upside down, whatever it might be. When we use these terms, we imagine that the subject is in anatomical position. And so once we have established position, we can then use directions or anatomical directions here. So I have this picture here. I'll also be demonstrating on Bartholomew here. The first direction we have is medial. Now you might notice that medial sounds like medium, and that's a fairly accurate way to think of it. Medial, is going to be towards the midline of the body. So imagine we drew an a line down the middle of Bartholomew here. It's going to split his head in half, going to go right down the sternum bone here, going to split his arms into a right and left half, legs into a right and left side. That is the medial part of the body. And anything that moves towards the middle of the body is said to be moving in a medial direction. So if I'm comparing the arm bone here, and I say that I want to go from Bartholomew's elbow here to his ribs, I would be moving in a medial direction. Or what I could say is that the ribs are more medial compared to the elbow. A couple of different ways that you can frame that. The opposite of medial then is lateral. You think if you are in athletics, you make a lot of lateral motion. That is going to be side to side. So lateral is going to be any movement away from the midline of the body. So if I go back to my ribs and elbow here, the elbow is lateral to the ribs. And you can compare a number of different structures here. the eyes are lateral to the nose here, because the nose really sits at the most medial line that you can get, and pretty much anything else is going to be lateral compared to things like the nose, compared to the sternum, different things like that. So lateral and medial are an opposite pair. Superior and inferior, we use these a lot. Superior is always going to mean towards the head. You can think if somebody is your superior at work, they are above you at work, so they are going to be towards the head, they are above you. Inferior is going to be the opposite. If someone is your inferior, they are beneath you, they are below you. So inferior is going to be away from the head. And one thing I do want to mention when we're using these terms, this is in reference to a bipedal organism, so like humans. These terms get a little mixed up. They're a little bit different sometimes if we're dealing with four-legged animals or quadrupeds. Note that these are only for humans or really upright bipedal organisms. Proximal and distal are only going to deal with the limbs. So you think proximal sounds like approximate. You think approximate, that means close. So proximal is going to be something that is close to the point of attachment on this body. So the point of attachment for the arm bone is at the shoulder joint, the glenohumeral joint. The point of attachment for the legs is here in the acetabulum at the hip. So anything that is proximal is going to be close to that point of attachment. So if we're comparing the elbow and the wrist right here, elbow, wrist, the elbow is more proximal than the wrist. Opposite of that is going to be distal. Think distal, distant. So distal is going to be further away from the point of attachment. So while the elbow is more proximal than the wrist is more distal than the elbow. So again, since these are opposite pairs, there's several different ways that you can frame that there. But proximal and distal are going to deal with your limbs. Now, if we turn Bart to the side here, again, I'm going to have him in anatomical position, but it's just a little bit easier to talk about these with a side profile. We have anterior and posterior. Way that I remember these, anterior is towards the front of the alphabet, posterior is towards the back of the alphabet. So A coming before P. Anterior is going to be towards the front of the body, while posterior is going to be towards the back of the body. There's some other terms that we'll see here, ventral and dorsal. We see ventral and dorsal more so with quadrupeds, but we do use them interchangeably with humans. Ventral in Latin means belly. So ventral is the belly side or the front, the anterior side, where dorsal means towards the back. You think your sharks, your fish have that dorsal fin coming out the back here. It's called a dorsal fin because it is on the back side. So ventral and anterior both mean the same thing, towards the front. Dorsal and posterior both mean towards the back. Then we have superficial and deep. Superficial, you think if somebody is a very superficial person, they are very surface level. You don't really know them very well. They don't have a lot of depth to them. Superficial is going to mean towards the surface. So if we're looking at Bartholomew here, you can imagine he's got his guts all in here. Superficial is going to be the skin on the outside here. Deep would refer to things like the guts. The most superficial organ you can get is your skin. If you want to be a little more specific, you have the hair coming out of the skin, so you can talk about hair being extremely superficial, and then deep being the opposite of that. Everything else is going to be deep compared to your skin, or at least if you're healthy, everything else is going to be deep compared to your skin. And that leads us to our anatomical planes. So planes, these are not the flying type. You can think of these as the X, Y, and Z planes of the human body. I know some of you are having some PTSD from your math classes. We use anatomical planes in the same way because there's a lot of different things we can see based on different anatomical planes. So we have our image here. I'll also talk in reference to Bartholomew here. First is the coronal, otherwise known as the frontal plane. Coronal is going to mean like head, so this is going to split the head, but that's a little bit of a misnomer. I like frontal better because it's going to divide the body into a front and back half, into an anterior and posterior part. You can see it on the blue plane there. If I was to do a frontal plane on Bartholomew, it would split him down here. One key thing to note about these planes is that they don't have to be directly in the middle. If they are in the middle, we usually put like mid in front of it. So the mid-coronal plane or the mid-frontal plane would divide Bartholomew into equal front and back halves. But they don't necessarily have to be. You can have a frontal plane that only takes off your nose. It just sits here, still divides the body into a front and a back portion. Next is the axial or transverse plane. Again, both mean the same thing. These are going to be in the X direction. They're going to divide the body into a top and a bottom portion. Again, your mid-axial or mid-transverse plane is going to equally divide the body into a top and bottom halves. They don't necessarily have to. You can have an axial or a transverse plane that separates it into the head and then the rest of the body. Then you have your sagittal plane. Sagittal planes are going to divide the body into right and left portions. So again, they don't have to be in the middle. You can have a sagittal plane that slices off Bart's right arm here. That would be the right side of the sagittal plane, and the left side of the sagittal plane would then be the rest of the body. One common mid-plane that we do have, though, is the mid-sagittal plane. This is when you divide the body into equal right or left halves. And why we see this commonly used is that the human body exhibits dual commonalities on either side. So a lot of our structures that are present on the right side are also present on the left side. We see this with other structures or with other organisms as well. Starfish are famous for having radial symmetry, so you can divide them up into many different ways, and they would each would look the same. Humans, however, you can only divide us into a right and a left side, and so that's why the mid-sagittal plane is very common, is because from the outside, our right and left sides look exactly the same, just mirror images of one another. Now, if we get to the internal anatomy of the human body, that's when the mid-sagittal plane starts to fall apart. Your heart sits a little bit to the left. Your right lung has 3 lobes, while the left lung has 2 lobes. Your stomach tends to sit on the left-hand side, some various things like that. So really, the mid-sagittal plane is only useful for dividing it when we're looking at external structures that are mirror images of one another. So that is all we have for today. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you post those on the updates tab, or if you see somebody posted a question on there, feel free to answer those. Otherwise, hopefully you get a chance to answer those questions then